Well, hey, podcast people. Thanks for stopping by this show. Really excited to share with you today a conversation that I had with Allie Stone. Allie Stone is the Director of Marketing and Digital Partnerships over at Conscious Alliance. Really good to sit down and talk with her for a little while to learn more about that organization. I knew who they were high level and the work that some of the work that they do with the bands that we all love going to see. But it was nice to sit down and talk with her and really kind of explore the breadth and reach of Conscious Alliance. She also took a little bit of time to educate me on some of the other nonprofits that are in that same orbit: Positive Legacy, Backline, Western Sun Foundation. So it was really good to sit down with her for a little while and talk about the great work that she does over there. We also spent some time talking about her musical tastes, her first time seeing the Grateful Dead and Phish. I really hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed making it. Let's go.
So have a cup of coffee and catch your breath. Oh, breathe. You're trying to live a life that's completely free. You're racing with the wind, you're flirting with death. So have a cup of coffee and catch your breath. But you just got a bottle upside the head. Oh, you're trying to live a life that's completely free. You want to stay with Billy until you're dead, but you just got a bottle upside the head.
Shark circled in and began to feed. Billy knew her weasel was finally free.
Cause Millie took that paper and sliced him on the nipple. They're trying to live a life that's completely free. Floyd is dead, he's nothing but a rebel. Cause Millie took that paper and sliced him on the nipple. They're trying to live a life that's completely free. You're racing with the wind, you're flirting with death. So have a cup of coffee and catch your breath. Trying to live a life that's completely free. You're racing with the wind, you're flirting with death. So have a cup of coffee and catch your breath.
Well, Allie, it's really good to meet you. I've had a little bit of experience with Conscious Alliance, and we'll get into that. But where are you from? What's your background?
Yeah, so I grew up in Chicago. Then I lived in Colorado for about 10 years. That's where I connected with Conscious Alliance. That's where our headquarters is, in Broomfield, Colorado. I'm currently living in Portland, Oregon. My sister and brother-in-law live here. And when they started to have kids, I just wanted to be closer to family and be a part of my nephews growing up. So I work here in my home office.
Oh, okay. Cool.
My background is in marketing. I spent kind of the first 10 years of my career as a mid-level marketing manager in corporate America. And it was so unfulfilling, and I dreaded to go to work every day, and I felt just really, really lost. So I took a leap of faith around 2017 and quit my job without much of a plan, but with some hope that I could do some soul searching. It was a super hard year. I was living off my savings and trying to freelance a bit, until a friend on the board of the Mockingbird Foundation reached out about doing some volunteer work with the organization's biggest fundraiser. They were releasing the 3rd edition of The Phish Companion, which is a 900-page book about the best band in the world. So if you're not familiar with Mockingbird, they're an organization that was started by Phish fans that gives out micro grants for music education in cities where the band tours. So I really got into that project. It really re-energized me, and I spent kind of the second half of the year really throwing myself into volunteer work and learning about nonprofits. That's what kind of brought me to Conscious Alliance. A friend shared a job description for a marketing manager, and it really felt serendipitous at the time. It felt like the right next move for me. So I started working there pretty early in 2018. And that year off was just like a really insightful time for me. I learned a lot about volunteer work and how volunteering can be more than giving your time, your physical time, to a soup kitchen, that you can donate your skill sets. Yeah. So I just found a space that was more fulfilling and, a place where I can make an impact.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I've been in the corporate world. I think, let me see, 2001, I started really kind of getting into the corporate environment, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've been doing some volunteer work for Nucci's, and it's like, man, if I could just do this full time and support my family, I get you. It's so much more fulfilling. Like, you feel like you're doing something for people rather than just like pushing a corporation's bottom line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And in corporate America, I was so miserable that I was such a job hopper. Like, I would get lost in these international corporate like matrices. My job wasn't going everywhere. And now I've been with Conscious Alliance for 7 years. I've grown into a director role, and I oversee the events team. And I feel like that's a statement, going from like a job hopper, changing jobs every year and a half, to staying somewhere for 7 years. That shows like my dedication and like how it was such a good move for me.
Now, were you always into live music, like in the jam band scene, or did the move to Conscious Alliance kind of fan that flame a little bit?
No, I'm a huge live music lover. Definitely got it from my dad, who was a Deadhead.
Oh, mine too.
Quickly got into Phish in my teenage years and got to see them a few times before they went on the hiatus. My husband works in the music industry. He's with AEG, and he does festival
cool.
marketing.
Yeah.
And so he's just such an eclectic listener. So he's always brought like new music to my life. But Phish is definitely my community. The jam band scene is definitely my community. It's where I resonate with. It's who I work with and communicate with. So yes, love live music.
Well, and you know what's funny is I will do a little bit of research on stuff. I don't like to do too much because I kind of want the conversation to be a little more organic. And I hate to ask somebody a question I already know the answer to. Like that to me is like, meh. But I did do a little research on Conscious Alliance, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the impression I got was that the idea was formed by three guys who follow live music, who had this idea to do good by utilizing the gatherings of large people like that in that environment. I'll let you kind of tell what the original intent of the organization was, but do I have that right?
Yeah, no, that's such a good opening to it. We started with doing a food drive with the string cheese incident in 2002 at the Fillmore in Denver. And it was the vision of a handful of CU Boulder students They have eventually became our founders, but yeah, they had the idea to leverage art and music to inspire music communities. So that first food drive, they worked with an artist named Michael Everett to create our first Art That Feeds food drive, and invited fans to donate cans in exchange for the print. And we collected 4,000 pounds of food over that 3-day run.
Oh, wow.
And it sort of just took off from there. And that's what you see at shows. That's really still our model for our Art That Feeds food drives.
What's the relationship between conscious? I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute, but it does look like there is a relationship between Conscious Alliance and Native American reservations, and that I didn't expect that, and I was wondering if you might be able to educate me on what that is. Like, was there obviously I know where you guys lie from a fundraising perspective with live music, but I was surprised to see this relationship with Native American reservations. Is that a huge opportunity in terms of feeding people?
Yeah, absolutely. Pine Ridge Reservation, which is about 6 hours north of Boulder in South Dakota, is definitely the heart and part of our original story.
Okay.
The food that we collected at String Cheese that year, the CU Boulder students decided to bring to Pine Ridge Reservation. And when they brought the food, they also built relationships with the Lakota tribe and the leaders of the Lakota tribe, and really tried to understand the culture and understand the needs, and not just come in as, uppity white people wanting to change the world, but really learning their culture and making those connections. So Pine Ridge is just a place that we've continued to serve. We didn't want to be a group that was one and done. So we have a food pantry up there on the reservation that serves 50 families a week. We also are now bringing semi-trucks and even our trucks, loads of food up to the reservation. We've done a really great job building relationships with the schools. They've become really integral in getting food distributed. The reservation is the size of Connecticut, and they have one grocery store.
Oh my God.
So it's really spread out, and we'll work with a local school that's kind of central, and other schools will send volunteers or staff to this one central location. And then they're actually the ones that are trucking it back and giving it out to kids. So amazing partnerships up there. It's really where our heart and core story starts from.
That's very cool. And in addition to food drives, I think I read, again, I didn't go too deep, but it looks like you have some corporate partners in the food industry. And it sounded like the effort there was really to rescue that food before it went to the to landfills and such, like taking advantage of food that would otherwise be discarded. Is that right?
Yeah, I love this question. People sort of know us from hosting the food drives at shows, but there's actually a whole other side of what we're doing. And to your point is we're working with food brands to rescue food products before they reach the landfills. So we're doing a lot of work around combating food waste, which is a huge problem in our country.
Yeah.
When brands have products that they can no longer use, this could be from like just packaging rebranding, or it's nearing its expiration date. We'll go pick that food up from their warehouses and route it to communities in need. And one thing that I really don't think a lot of people know about is that we do this at no cost to the brands. So
Wow.
We're covering the logistics. We pay for the semi-trucks. It's our staff that's moving food before it goes to waste. So we work in music, but we're also really a logistics company as well.
Isn't it crazy that a country can have a homeless problem the way that we do? Or let me back up. My ex-wife, who I still have a good relationship with, we've got kids together, she's a teacher. And during the pandemic, she was the one that educated me on Title I programs. And she told me, she said, let me back up. During the pandemic, the school district here in Gwinnett County, which is the largest county in Georgia, they had orchestrated this plan where they were going to distribute meals to kids at home during the pandemic. And she said, if it wasn't for free and reduced lunch that schools provided to kids, a lot of kids wouldn't eat. And during the pandemic, that was even more amplified. And it just baffles me, I guess is my point, that a country like America can have a problem like this where, you know, food's going to waste when there's people that are going hungry every day, I guess is my point. It's a very odd thing that we it's an odd problem.
No, it is. And it's just like food is a basic right. But you bring a good point about teachers and free and reduced lunch programs. Teachers are so integral in these programs because and helping us find families, especially on the Front Range, that we can work on, because they're the people that are interacting with students each day. Food insecurity can be a very embarrassing thing, but teachers can kind of recognize it. They can recognize when families are struggling. They can put them in touch with us. So our partnerships with schools and specifically the teachers, who are the ones that are volunteering their time to come to our office and pick up a bunch of snacks to bring back to their kids.
Wow.
So yeah, just shout out to the teachers. They're amazing.
No doubt. Now, how did you, as the organization picked up momentum and things started to change a little bit in terms of scope, about what year? I think it sounded like String Cheese was like the first performing act you guys teamed with from a poster perspective. I've seen you guys at Panic shows. I've bought a couple Goose prints off your site. But when did that partnership begin? Like I want to say, isn't one of the guys from Greensky Bluegrass like on your advisory board? Or can you maybe delve into the music relationship a little bit?
Yeah, totally. I love that you brought up those two examples because it was what was on my list to chat about. Yeah, we're also, I mean, in general, we're always looking to break into new genres of music and grow our roster. String Cheese was kind of our first band. A couple years later, Sound Tribe asked us to actually do a full tour with them. So I think word got out in the industry. We have a lot of board members who work in live music, promoters and talent buyers and whatnot. So they really open a lot of doors for us. But yeah, our relationship with Widespread is awesome because I know they also support New Cheese Space, but they have that wonderful Feeding People Through Music program. So our values really align. And addition to partnering on food drives, we've also done other initiatives with them. I think it was 2021. We partnered with them at their Tunes for Tots benefits, and we were able to deliver over 900 instruments to schools on Pine Ridge Reservation.
I didn't realize you guys handled the logistics of all that. That's cool.
We did. It was so cool to see all the instruments come into our warehouse, and like it was such an energizing moment for the team. Everybody was so excited about it, like seeing all these like cool Fender guitars that were going to go to kids on the reservation. So it was a really special moment.
That's awesome. What are any other organizations that you guys team up with that I should give a shout out to? Obviously.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
I love that question as well. I think the music industry has this really strong ecosystem of nonprofits that support each other. And at the end of the day, it's sort of all about collective impact. So our executive director sits on the board for Backline and Positive Legacy. I also sit on the board for Western Sun Foundation, which was born from the Goose community. A group of Goose fans created this organization. So I think a lot of us in leadership positions are like making those connections even outside of the work that we do with Conscious Alliance. But like right now we're partnering with Backline to provide those wellness kits to music industry professionals. So we'll provide products to include in the bags, but we're friends with the Backline team. They use our warehouse to store the bags and we create the kits together. We've partnered with Reverb. We participate in Participation Row at Dead & Co shows, those shows are so much fun.
Yeah.
And then we've done some work with Headcount as well. I think the most recent thing we did with them was an auction and an online food drive for Lock-In a few years ago.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, Josh Timmer. Do you know Josh Timmermans?
I know that. Yes,
the name.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. He turned me on to Positive Legacy, and I'd not heard of them before I met him. So it's kind of like this added benefit of like talking to people like you, as I get introduced to things that maybe weren't in my line of sight. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to look up Backline.
Yeah, they're great. They're doing mental health resources to music industry professionals.
Super cool. Well, what does your day look like? Like, what's your responsibility in the organization? And I say this because I've been in sales forever, and sales is always lock and step with marketing in a corporate environment. But what does a typical day look like for you? Like, what are your responsibilities and in your department?
Yeah, well, just the way marketing is attached to sales in that world, marketing is really attached to fundraising in the nonprofit space. So my primary role is to oversee marketing, but with that comes fundraising. I co-lead our events team responsible for the food drives, and then partnership building. It's just kind of all interconnected. So my typical day, honestly, I'm on Zoom calls a lot, connecting with the local team in Colorado, doing planning with our creative agency, and just like talking with donors and partners. I'm really driven by work, and I'm also pursuing my master's at University of Denver for nonprofit leadership. So between the two, I'm just on the computer a lot, but every morning I start my day with coffee and sitting under my therapy lamp, since Portland is a little dreary. And I've been wrapping up my days watching documentaries on rock bands. My husband and I have a list of films that we're currently working through. So that's kind of a typical day right now. Yeah.
Now, what is a therapy lamp? I might need one of those.
Oh yeah, no, they're really high powered lamps that give you extra vitamin D.
Oh,
so
I'm
they're
missing out.
recommended for folks. Yeah, it's like recommended for folks that live in dreary areas. Though in Portland we've been getting some sun, more sun than usual. But
well, you've got
it just gives me a little boost in the day.
I'm gonna have to try that out. Well, you're in good company up there because Jerry Joseph and Patterson Hood from Drive By Truckers, they live up there.
Yeah, absolutely. What I've loved about the Portland music scene is it's an independent music scene. So it's smaller venues, it's venues like historic venues that have been renovated. So they're really cool spaces. Even though we're kind of outside of touring routes, being so northeast or northwest, we have great bands that come through this area.
That's cool. Yeah, we saw Phish had released their spring tour dates, I believe it was, and we're eyeballing Portland. That's a cool town.
It is. If you make it out there, let me know. I'm so excited for that show. I've seen over 100 shows, and the fact that they're playing 10 minutes from my house, like it couldn't be better than that.
Well, I was going to hold this later in our chat. Do you recall what your first Dead show was, and when your first Phish show was? Do you remember what those dates were and where they were?
So my first Dead show was not until Trey played with them for Fare Thee Well in Chicago.
Oh, cool.
So I never made it to a Dead show with my dad. I wasn't a little lot kid or anything, but we shared music through records. So yeah, my first Dead show was the Fare Thee Well, which was just one of my favorite musical, like all-time musical experiences. and my first Phish show. So now I'm going to be labeled a bad Phish fan because I don't know the exact date.
That's okay. I totally put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. It was. I'm a Phish fan. I should know this. We know our stats. It wasn't. It was July of 2001. I think I was like senior year, and for some reason, my parents allowed me to take the minivan and drive up to Alpine Valley in Wisconsin. And that seemed to be okay at that time, I guess. I don't know. It was fun. It was really fun.
Well, I'm actually from just north of Chicago in a little town called Janesville, Wisconsin. So like when you're
cool.
Yeah, when you're driving up, it's kind of like one of the first stops just across the border. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting. Were your folks? You said your dad was into the Dead. Was your mom? Was she into that scene too, or did she have other musical tastes?
Yeah, they were both big music fans. She was a little less of a hippie rebel. I love going back to their house and looking through their record collection. They just have like some of the original like Beatles LPs, Rolling Stone LPs. So I've been slowly trying to be like, Mom, let me take those and build my vinyl collection. And she's holding on to, she's holding on to them. So we'll see if we eventually get those. But music was always a huge part of growing up. XRT in Chicago had Sunday Morning with the Beatles. That was always being played in our house. So yeah, they both really influenced my love for music.
That's awesome. What a cool full circle moment. Like you go out in the corporate world and then end up kind of doing what you love to do with your degree, but back to live music. Having that relationship again. That's so neat.
Honestly, this has really sort of been a defining year and kind of moment in my career, bringing together school, volunteering on nonprofits or nonprofit boards, just volunteering at people's other organizations' activation. Like, I really feel like I've found my life's work in this intersection between music communities and nonprofits. So I'm really lucky. It took me a long time to get there. But yeah, I've really found my place in the world.
What I think I noticed when I was on the site that you guys have some upcoming, I know you're doing some stuff with Goose upcoming. It looks like String Cheese. Is there any tell us about what y'all got going on, now that we're kind of starting to crawl our way back out of winter into live music spring, I guess I could call it. What kind of programs you have, or not programs, what kind of partnerships do you have upcoming that you want to tell folks about?
Yeah, we have a really exciting partnership with Billy Strings at his shows at the Ball Arena in Denver. We're hosting a coat drive, actually, instead of a food drive. It's really cold in Denver right now, and Billy and his team are really dedicated to a local organization called the Denver Rescue Mission. So our team's gonna be heading out and collecting coats. We also did a poster, so it was kind of the same Art That Feeds structure. An artist named Gift did the poster. We dropped it online, and people were so enthusiastic. Billy's community and fans were so about this event. So that's coming up. Super excited about that. And yeah, then we're kind of the next couple, January, February, we're hitting the road with String Cheese and Goose. And we're kind of all across the country, a little going to be in the Midwest. I'm going to be down by you for String Cheese in Atlanta, February 6th, 7th, and 8th. So yeah, we are full-time, like, jumping into events this year. It's great.
I need to get the date, or I need to look into that, because my girlfriend she loves string cheese. I mean, I love string cheese too, but I was actually just watching some videos last night. I don't know how I got down this little YouTube wormhole, but it was Keller Williams and with string cheese back in the day. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, that's good stuff. I'll have to look that up, because I didn't realize they were coming down here. Cool. Well, how can I think people don't know sometimes that you can always make a monetary donation. You can make a food donation, coat donation, things like that at shows. I discovered with Nucci Space that I can do a monthly automated debit contribution. It's a very small amount. It's like less than $10, but you get a few hundred, few thousand people. That adds up. But can people do that with you guys? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a membership program for recurring donations, and people can set it up at the frequency that they're comfortable with. So some people do monthly, quarterly, annually. It's a great way for the organization to have a revenue channel that's constant. We know that we're going to get that money because people have kind of pledged it up front. Periodically throughout the year, we'll do a membership campaign, which is a really fun time to join because we'll usually have some sort of merch item or cool Conscious Alliance created item that we'll send out as a thank you gift. So yes,
that's cool.
Reoccurring donations are amazing.
I got my Goose poster in the mail, and there was a $20 off coupon in that tube, and I thought that was a really clever way to get people to come back. So I put that on my desk. I was like, $20 is $20. I'm keeping this.
No, I know, and we do a good job of not letting them expire, I think, sometimes. So
totally.
We try to that fundraiser was amazing. Gooseness was amazing this year. So love to give back to that community.
What I'm a big Panic guy. I'm a big Phish guy. I'm probably a little more Panic than I am Phish, but I have started to get into. So I'll name a few bands that I'm into, and I'm curious to what you're listening to. If maybe you can turn me on to something. I've been listening to Spafford a bit. Eggy, Goose is on fire. Their shows, for people that have not gone to see Goose or maybe have an opinion about Goose, you got to go see them live because they're amazing. But what kind of stuff are you listening to? Any music you can turn me on to?
Well, so Eggy and Lotus are going to be in town on the same night, Valentine's Day in Portland. So I'm back and forth on who to go to. I love Lotus, seen a lot of Lotus shows, always have so much fun. But Eggy is playing at a small, very intimate venue called Mississippi Studios, and I've been really wanting to get into that venue. So we have both on the calendar right now.
Decision
those are
time.
Kind of my upcoming shows. Yes, decision time.
That's almost unfair. Like you got to pick.
I know.
You got to pick between those two.
But other than that, and outside of the jam band world, I've been listening to Zach Bryan a lot. He's kind of my favorite songwriter right now. He loves Green Sky, so sometimes you'll see some content on social media that overlaps the Green Sky world with my Zach Bryan world, which is great. He was my top listened to artist on Spotify last year. And then other than that, my favorite show last year, other than the Phish Festival, was 3 nights of Odessa at the Gorge.
I've not checked them out yet.
Their last goodbye tour was pretty awesome. Lots of really good production elements and pyro, and it was cool.
Actually, it's funny to jump back to Green Sky and Zach Bryan. On Andy Frasco's podcast, they had a conversation about that. It was Andy Frasco and Paul Hoffman from Green Sky, and they were talking about. I guess Paul has a relationship with Zach Bryan, and they talked about that a little bit, about that how there's a little bit of spillover from Green Sky over to Zach. So that's funny that you mentioned that again because I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, I loved that podcast. It made me smile so big because I was like, oh my God, it's the clash to these worlds that I love. But when I was first getting into Zach Bryan and I got away from, the hits and got into like the This Is Zach Bryan, where it's more of his discography, there was a song, and I wish I could remember the name of it, and I was like, wait a minute, this sounds exactly like a Green Sky song. And I'd always been like bothering my Green Sky friends to watch Zach or listen to the Zach Bryan song and like give me validation that they kind of open up the same way. And then to see that like Zach was a fan of Paul Hoffman and on that podcast, it was clash of both worlds. And like, I'm even smiling right now as I gush about it. So it was so cool.
That was cool. I think Andy was trying to get Paul Hoffman he was trying to egg him on a little bit, like, that dude stole your song, but
right.
Hoffman was way ahead of him. He's like, no, dude, we talked about it, and
Yeah.
Well, I want to give you a minute. I mean, anybody else that you want to give a shout out to? Maybe partners that you work with, or any specific events you want to bring up? I want to give you the floor for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to your listeners and to the fans, just wanting to encourage people to get involved. And we're always trying to grow our alliance. Food drives are such a fun volunteer experience. If you haven't volunteered before, or you're a seasoned volunteer, you get to interact with fans, and then you get free entry into the show.
Ooh.
So as we work in more and more cities, we're always trying to grow our volunteer base. So recommend people following us on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. I think those are our main ones. I should know that better as the digital marketing manager. But
is that how people?
Yeah, it's such a fun way to get involved, and it's such a fun way to get involved at all ages. Like, if you're a music fan, just come out, or even just say hi at a booth and see what we're all about.
Is that how people get involved from a volunteer perspective, to kind of look for that outreach, or can they go to your website and maybe put their name on a list? How's that work?
Yeah, absolutely. Also on our website, we have a list of all the shows that we're looking for volunteers to come help out at. You can also sign up to volunteer at our warehouse and do more work with like the moving of food and the compiling of boxes and sorting of food, which is fun. We have a really fun headquarters, very cash work environment, and everybody hangs out. So yeah, if you head to our website, it's consciousalliance.org/volunteer is where you can check out the volunteer opportunities.
Well, it's the middle of the day for you. I've taken up a little bit of your time. I want to tell you, it's really good to meet you, and I've been meaning to reach out for a long time. The show has taken on a little bit of a. There's always this Nucci's influence because I volunteer here, and I'm glad to make your acquaintance because I'm a big fan of what you guys do, and I hope people will go check out the website and get involved. But more importantly, it's good to make the connection with you. It's really good to talk to you. I appreciate your time today.
Oh, absolutely. And you've inspired me. Like, I've heard about Nucci's Space so much. Give me like an overview of the mission and what you guys do. I apologize, I haven't dug into it, but I see you guys all over the place. Yeah.
Well, so it is Linda Phillips had a son called Nucci Phillips. His name was Nucci Phillips, and he took his own life. So she, not wanting that to happen to other families, started up Nucci Space. I think the first group she started was called Survivors of Suicide, SOS, like before they actually had a Nucci Space building. Fast forward just a little bit, they opened up the building. So suicide prevention is kind of at the forefront, but they do a lot to nurture kids as they grow, to give them a place that is safe, that aids in avoiding potential life things that happen later that would cause you to maybe turn to suicide. It's a very interesting and complex thing, and I should connect you with Abby Winograd. I did an episode with her on the show, and she's their marketing and communications person here. She's an absolute gem. But they've evolved a little bit. They do now. What they typically target is the musician community in the immediate Athens area. So if you don't have insurance, access to affordable health care, that's where they step in and make it really affordable to get health care, eye care, vaccinations, things like that. So they do a lot more than I think I realized when I started helping here. But yeah, I'll connect you with Abby. She's a magnificent person. I was actually telling her about Conscious Alliance a little earlier today when I was here doing some stuff. But yeah, it's all about
cool.
It's all about suicide prevention. But they do like band camps, and they do. If you've never picked up an instrument before, you can come here and take. They'll teach you how to play. They put you in groups with different kids your age, and you create bands, and they do like these finales where your band performs. There's a recording studio here. There's practice spaces here. So if you have, if you need affordable places that are safe where you can come practice with, by yourself or with your band, you can rent a room here for like $10. And there's a drum kit in here. There's mic stands. You can even have your rehearsals recorded. It's very cool. It's very cool.
That's awesome. When did they get a physical space? That's so cool.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2002 or 3, and I should know this, but I don't remember the date off the top of my head. Linda later passed of cancer. So she's no longer with us, but she's got a great team here that is carrying the organization forward in her name. So
that's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's
definitely make the connection.
I will.
That's my jam. I love to talk to other folks that are working in our space.
All right. Well, Allie, I'm going to let you get back to work, but this won't be the last time we talk.
Yeah, that's great. It was so nice meeting you.
You too. I appreciate it, Allie. You have a great rest of your day, and I love what you guys are doing. We'll get some people to drive some traffic to the website, and I look forward to seeing you guys real soon.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much.
the riverside. Got some things to talk about here beside the rising tide.